Hi, it's Patrik from IntensiveCareHotline.com, where we instantly improve the lives for families of critically ill patients in intensive care so that you can make informed decisions, have peace of mind, real power, real control, and so that you can influence decision making fast, even if you're not a doctor or a nurse in intensive care. Today, I want to read out a testimonial from a client, and I'll just read out the email from the client verbatim. Hi Patrick, my husband has been in 4 different hospitals within the last 4 months. Finally, this coming Monday, he will be transferred to a patient nursing facility to learn how to walk and eat again. He is a true miracle and is doing great. 3 out of the 4 hospitals said that he was a very sick man and it was cruel to keep him alive and only suffering. They also said it is doubtful that he would ever be free from the ventilator or that his cognitive memory would return. They felt we should look at other options, in other words, call in hospice, remove the ventilator and feed his body morphine until he passes away. My husband also had many other life-threatening medical problems to overcome just from being in these hospitals, such as sepsis, staph infection, really bad pneumonia many times over and over again, tracheostomy, food tube in stomach, huge weight loss, loss of all muscle tone and all strength. Couldn't even lift his head 1 inch off his pillow without help. He couldn't speak. He had difficulty thinking because of all the psycho mind-altering drugs all 4 of the hospitals had pumped into his body in order to withstand the dreadfully painful ventilator of all of these many, many months. I am so very grateful that I found you on the internet and you gave me hope. What you are doing is saving many lives when insurance companies and hospitals just prefer to kill the very ill. This has now obviously become the norm. My eyes have been opened wide in shock and complete horror. This all started at such and such hospitals. I will not name the hospital in the emergency department. My husband had a terrible fall and I called the emergency services. The next morning he was put in ICU. The nurse happily reported to me he was breathing 100% on his own. Just a few hours later, the ICU floor doctor put the ventilator on him. The ICU doctor said this would help him relax and heal more easily. That was the worst thing that doctor could have done to my husband. The doctor never asked for approval or requested any prior medical history. Nothing. My husband has 2 lung diseases and had been previously seeing a pulmonary doctor at UFM a few years ago. The ICU doctor should have his medical license removed. We all know it has everything to do with money. I have never seen such severe suffering as what my husband had to withstand for over 4 months. And there is so much more to tell. It was mostly because of you, Patrick, that we didn't follow through with what the doctors and nurses wanted us to do, to kill him with morphine. When I think about all of this, it chills me to the bone. God bless you and your wonderful work to help people like my husband and I. From Jane. Well, Jane, I can't thank you enough for sharing this feedback with me and my team, and I can't thank you enough to enable us to publish this here on YouTube and also to publish this on our website, because I think it's so important that other families know about how hospitals and intensive care units really operate. I do want to say here, it feels like we're talking about all intensive care units, which is not the case, but there's some wonderful intensive care units out there. However, the people that come to us are obviously dealing with intensive care units that are not ethical, intensive care units that want to kill very fast, and with intensive care units that put money before lives. And we're dealing with intensive care units that think they know everything about quality of life, and nothing could be further from the truth. Quality of life is a very subjective and individual measure. It's not up to the intensive care team to say what is cruel and what is not cruel. If someone is suffering, yes, assessments need to be made, whether it's okay to continue treatment, and ethical decisions need to be made. But all parties need to sit on one table, and it can't just be a one-sided decision. So I'm very glad that we were able to help you, Jane, and that your husband is now on the mend, so to speak, after everything he has been through. And we have many other success stories where we help families in intensive care to basically save their loved one's life while the ICU team is pushing withdrawal of treatment on them. We help advocate for families in intensive care, and as I always say, families in intensive care don't know what they don't know. They don't know what to look for, they don't know what questions to ask, they don't know their rights, and they don't know how to manage doctors and nurses in intensive care. And that's where we can help families in intensive care very fast with our insights, with our advocacy, with our consulting. And if you or your loved one feel you don't want to give up, then you simply don't want to give up. If you want to go out with a fighting chance, you want to go out with a fighting chance. More importantly, what you say in your email, Jane, is pretty much that the ICU team wanted to kill your husband with morphine. And unfortunately, this is what happens all the time in intensive care. One way for intensive care units to manage beds is literally to kill people, and that is euthanasia. If morphine, midazolam, is given to hasten death, quite frankly, that is euthanasia, and euthanasia is illegal. And I know that many of our viewers here, our subscribers, are very religious. Not all of our subscribers, but people that I talk to tend to be very religious. They believe in God. They believe that life is sacred. I certainly believe that life is sacred, and that it's up to God when people live or die. It's not up to intensive care units. Their job is to give it their best shot, and let people decide, let families decide what they want to do, let patients decide what they want to do, especially if there is an advanced care plan. And if people have an advanced care plan where they say, I don't want to be on a ventilator for 4 months, I can accept that too. It all comes down to the individual's choice, So, if you have a loved one in intensive care and you're watching this video and you're wondering what you should do, you should definitely follow your gut, and you should follow what your loved one wants and what you as a family want, until your loved one can make their own decisions. Another thing that I want to throw in there is, especially with the emergence of services like intensive care at home now, your husband probably didn't have to spend all that time in hospital and in intensive care, probably could have gone home with our service, Intensive Care at Home. You should check out intensivecareathome.com for more information there. So yeah, thank you so much again, Jane, for sharing that with us and also with our audience here. More power to you, more power to your husband. Your husband is alive. That's the other thing that I always say, once a patient has passed away, it's too late. It's too late once a patient has passed away. And while someone is alive, and while you want to, continue living, you've got to throw all resources at keeping people alive, and then see where it gets them. And in your husband's situation, obviously all resources were allocated to your husband, and see where he's at. He's alive, he's recovering. He's got the trach tube out, the tracheostomy tube out. He's going to eat and drink again. He's going to walk again. That is just amazing. It's the most amazing thing that you could share with me and with my team and with our viewers here and our subscribers. So thank you so much again, Jane. Now, how can you become the best advocate for your critically ill loved one? How can you make informed decisions, get peace of mind, control, power and influence quickly whilst your loved one is critically ill in intensive care? Well, you will get to that all-important feeling of making informed decisions, get peace of mind, control, power and influence when you download your free Instant Impact Report now by entering your email below. In your free Instant Impact Report, you will learn quickly how to make informed decisions, get peace of mind, real power and real control, and how you can influence decision-making fast whilst your loved one is critically ill in intensive care. Your free Instant Impact Report gives you in-depth insight that you must know whilst your loved one is critically ill or is even dying in intensive care. Sign up and download your free Instant Impact Report now by entering your email below. In your free Instant Impact Report, you will learn how to speak the secret intensive care language so that the doctors and the nurses know straight away that you are an insider and that you know and understand what's really happening in intensive care. In your free report, you will also discover how to ask the doctors and the nurses the right questions, discover the many competing interests in intensive care and how your critically ill loved one's treatment may depend on those competing interests, how to eliminate fear, frustration, stress, struggle, and vulnerability even if your loved one is dying. You will get 5 mind-blowing tips and strategies helping you to get on the right path to making informed decisions, get peace of mind, control, power, and influence in your situation. You will get real-world examples that you can easily adapt to your and your critically ill loved one's situation. How to stop being intimidated by the intensive care team and how you will be seen as equals. You will get crucial behind the scenes insight so that you know and understand what's really happening in intensive care and how you need to manage doctors and nurses in intensive care, and it's not what you think. Thank you for tuning into this week's Your Questions Answered episode, and I'll see you again next week in another update. Make sure you also have a look at our blog section and our Your Questions Answered section for more tips and strategies, or simply send me an email to support@intensivecarehotline.com with your questions. Also, have a look at our membership site intensivecaresupport.org for families of critically ill patients in intensive care. You can also call me, find phone numbers on the top of our website. Also, have a look at our ebook section, and you can also get one-on-one consulting and advocacy with me over the phone, via Skype, via Zoom, and via email by clicking on the relevant tabs on the top of the website. This is Patrik from intensivecarehotline.com, and I'll see you again next week with another update. Like this video, comment down below what questions and insights you have from this video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for updates for families in intensive care. Take care.